Good line! Yes!
Yes!
Good line!
Alright guys, welcome to the garage. So, just working on the jewel, fitting some GPM bits. I've got a pair of GPM diff cases. I've also fitted a GPM splitter mount. So, I've always been a bit dubious about GPM stuff. A lot of it used to be awful, but you know, they do seem to have upped the game a little bit. So the splitter mounts really nice, straightforward, easy to fit. The diff cases, so the first thing I noticed straight away is these, like the stock Tamiya cases from your Creightons and your Typhoons, will need a bit of Dremel work to allow you to fit the GP5 gears. So there's your stock case. You can see you've got a fell out inside there. So, I mean, I'm not too worried about that. A bit of Dremel work don't really fuss me. Other than that, they seem really nice cases. So, cover, anti-roll bar mount, $7.75. Comes with screws, shims, everything else. So this is your standard Armour diff input bearing, 11 by 5 by 4, and this is the stock size bearing that the GPM cases come with. So that's a 13 by 5 by 4, which, when you talk about percentages, that's quite a sizable upgrade over the stock Armour input bearing, and anyone running decent speeds knows that is the Achilles heel of most fast Armours. So I'm not actually going to use the stock bearing that's supplied with the case. I've got some ABEC 5 bearings here that I'm going to fit. Reuse my diff input. So yeah, I'm going to get the dribbling off camera. You don't want to listen to that, I'm sure. I'll take a few pictures halfway through and I'll come back and show it you once I've finished dremeling it and let you know how the rest of it fits and all bolts together. So yeah, stay tuned. Right guys, so I've had the Dremel out, taking some of the material out of that corner. She spins free now. It's not a lot of material, just enough to make that clear. I used a sander attachment in the Dremel. I did try with a little diamond bit, but that was quite slow to remove the material, so I used the sander, found that worked quite well. So yeah, obviously took a bit out, put the diff in, it was touching a little bit, so I just took a little bit more. You know, I definitely recommend sticking a little bit out at a time and keep trying it, rather than taking loads out, and because obviously you will go through into the screw hole if you take too much material out. But yeah, so I'm happy with that. So next thing, I'm going to get the input in, get it shimmed up, put the case on it, and then come back and give you another look. So I've got the diff in and the input gear in, all assembled up. In terms of tolerances, it must be made quite tight, because normally with the stock Armour cases, those are the shims I had in the stock case. I had to put one at either side to stop the diff floating side to side, and one behind the input gear to bring the input gear out to it. But with this, I haven't put no additional shims in it, and there's no float side to side in the gear. Good mesh on the input. So yeah, first impressions are pretty good. So we'll see how the rest of it goes together. Make sure everything, you know, all these holes all line up right, and yeah, so far so good. Right, so that's the front end all back together. You can see the GPM splitter mounts on there. That fits nice. The GPM diff case in there. All bolted up, no dramas, no dodgy threads, all holes aligned. Yeah. Happy days. Now time to get the back done. Right, so that's the rear one done as well. Same scenario, dremeled the case out. I only needed one shim in this one, just to hold the diff over, so a tiniest little bit of movement. That could be in the bearings. I'm not saying it's in the case, so yeah. Happy days. Got together really well. But yeah, I've got the rest of it built back up now. Right, so that's the back end all bolted back up. Same again, everything bolted straight up to it. Nice and easy. So I can definitely recommend the GPM diff cases. Like I say, if you want to fit a GP5 gears into them, you will need to dremel the case out a little bit, but it's not really a big deal. But yeah, happy with them. The bigger input bearing will make a massive difference in terms of how long the bearings last, because the armour ones were always the weak point. But yeah, happy days. Cheers for watching.